明日の朝7時にきちんと起きないとな。
The way it's used in the sentence. So you don't need to say this. In conversational English, when us Americans or North Americans, British, Australians, native speakers, we usually drop more.
今日は英語修理店のエピソードです。英語を勉強している日本人が英語の間違いを正してくれないかと尋ねました。これを実際の会話英語で行ってみます。
Hello to all of my listeners out there today. I want to welcome you to another episode of the Social English Podcast. If you are new to the podcast, I want to say welcome, and I am sure you will learn some good skills to help you learn English with this podcast. If you are a returning listener, I want to say thank you for your support and thank you for listening. Before we start today's episode of the Social English Podcast, please listen to this.
今日のソーシャルイングリッシュのエピソードは、中級または上級のスキルレベルで英語を勉強している人々を対象としています。初心者の方はゆっくりとエピソードを聞いてください。頑張れ。
Thanks, Cole. That's correct. For this episode of the Social English Podcast, you should have a medium or high skill level of English. Because today we are going to have another Social English Repair Shop episode. A Japanese listener studying English asked if I can help with his English. So of course, I'm a nice guy. I said yes. Let's correct his English together today. The topic for today's English Repair Shop episode are your plans. This listener wants to talk about his plan to go running. Please think about that as you listen to the rest of today's episode. Here is today's show format.
すべての英語修理店のエピソードと同様に4つのパートがあります。パート1では英語を勉強している日本人が間違って言ったことを正確に聞くことができます。パート2では会話型のソーシャルイングリッシュスタイルで正しい英語を聞くことができます。パート3ではパーシーはあなたが同じ過ちを犯さないようにするために彼が重要だと考えるヒントをあなたに与えます。パート4でパーシーは正しい英語版を高速で自然な速度で言います。このようにしてネイティブの速度で英語を聞く練習をすることもできます。
Thank you for that explanation, Ko, in Japanese. We are going to have 4 parts to these episodes. In part 1, I will read exactly what the Japanese person said in the wrong English that they used. This is the uncorrected language they used. In part 2, I will say the correct English in a conversational, social English style. Remember, social English is real native English used when you have conversations in English in social situations. In part 3, I will tell you my secrets, my hints about this episode that I think are important so that you don't make these same mistakes. In part 4, I will say the corrected English version in a fast, natural speed. This way, you, my listener, can also practice listening to native English. But first, before we get started, for my Japanese listeners, let's listen to the original Japanese version of what this listener is trying to say.
明日はトレイルランニングに行く。明日の準備はした。さらに帰り道友達と会ってクライミングもする予定。明日の朝7時にきちんと起きないとな。
Now that was the original Japanese. Let's go to the first part. Here is that in the wrong English. Please listen. There are 4 parts today. Please listen. 聞いてください. 1. I'm going for a trail running tomorrow. 2. I prepared for tomorrow. 3. Moreover, I'm going to meet up with my friends and climb on the way home. 4. I have to get up properly at 7 o'clock tomorrow morning. Okay, that is the original. Let's do that one more time, this time with the English parts only. Please listen carefully. 聞いてください. I'm going for a trail running tomorrow. I prepared for tomorrow. over, I'm going to meet up with my friends and climb on the way home. I have to get up properly at 7 o'clock tomorrow morning. Okay, my listeners out there, what changes would you make? Let me know in Twitter at Social English. Now, let's go to part 2. This is the correct English in a speaking, conversational, social English way, but at a slow speed. Please listen. 聞いてください. 1. I'm gonna go on a trail run tomorrow. 2. I had to prepare for this run because I haven't ran for a while. 3. After that, I'm gonna go climbing with some friends. 4. I've gotta make sure I get up at 7 tomorrow. Okay, here is the correct English one more time, but this time just the English parts only. Please listen carefully. I'm gonna go on a trail run tomorrow. I had to prepare for this run because I haven't ran for a while. After that, I'm gonna go climbing with some friends. I've gotta make sure I get up at 7 tomorrow. Now, what do you think about that? Did you correct their English the way I did? If so, you are getting close to native English and social English understanding. Let's start part 3. These are my hints and tips for you. 1. When you say, I'm going to, you don't need to use the ing ending. I'm going to running. I'm going to playing. I'm going to watching. All are wrong. Just say, I'm going to run. I'm going to play. I'm going to watch. Tip 2. Please don't use moreover in conversations. This word, moreover, is never used in conversational English. This word is for more very, very formal speech, maybe in university or an event, but we don't use moreover when speaking in conversations, especially amongst friends. So never use moreover. Tip 3. Get up at 7 already means that this is the morning. The way it's used in the sentence. So you don't need to say this. In conversational English, when us Americans or North Americans, British, Australians, native speakers, we usually drop morning because you should understand when we say 7, we're talking about morning because we're talking about waking up, and we usually wake up in the morning. Okay, let's go to tip 4. This is my last tip for today. Properly is used in a more UK or Australian type of English usage. So if you go to Canada or America, we don't use properly when speaking. So properly isn't wrong, but this podcast is to help you understand social English, and we are coming from the American, North American, United States, Canada English style of speaking. So that way, if you go to college or you visit Canada or the United States, if you use properly, people will look at you strange because they think you are using strange English. So we don't want to use strange English. Let's start with part 4, natural fast speed. Let's have you listen to correct social English, but this time at a native natural speed so you can practice your listening skills. Please listen carefully. I'm gonna go on a trail run tomorrow. I had to prepare for this run because I haven't ran for a while. After that, I'm gonna go climbing with some friends. I gotta make sure I get up at 7 tomorrow. Here it is, one last time. I'm gonna go on a trail run tomorrow. I had to prepare for this run because I haven't ran for a while. After that, I'm gonna go climbing with some friends. I gotta make sure I get up at 7 tomorrow.
このショーを気に入っていただけたら5つ星のレビューをぜひお願いします。コメントは英語か日本語でお書きいただければ喜んで読ませていただきます。リアルソーシャルイングリッシュ .com にアクセスしてぜひ無料でダウンロードしてください。ほとんどの日本人の英語を勉強している人がやってしまいがちな7つの間違いとその正しい言い方。また毎日英語を上達させるのに役立つ資料もたくさんあります。Apple Podcast、Google Podcast、Stitcher、そして今はパンドラでもポッドキャストを購読いただけます。 支援者になっていただけませんか？私たちがこの賞を作るための支援として5ドルの寄付をお願いできませんか？今後のエピソードで感謝の気持ちをお伝えします。また、そこでしか利用できない新しいコンテンツも入手できます。patreon.com/socialenglish からご参加ください。ソーシャルメディアで私たちのポッドキャストを友達にシェアしたり、Twitter、Facebook、Instagram のフォローをお願いします。
Thank you for that message, Sora. And for all of you out there, you must understand that today you should be happy because you and I helped a Japanese person who's learning English just like you. I hope that you can learn something from today's episode, and please pay attention to my hints. They will help improve your English. My action item for you today. This is your homework. I want you to try and practice English by talking about your plans for this weekend. Think about what words you understand and heard. Let me know about what you learned on Twitter or Instagram. When you practice your action item for today, I want you to use a Japanese friend and talk about your plans today or this weekend. If you are lucky, you may have an English speaking friend. If you do, try to start a conversation and explain your plans for this weekend. Don't forget to listen to episode 126 and 131 because they are about beginning conversations and the IIWC pattern. It's a pattern that I want to share with you to help you understand, not just talk, but understand what is happening in your conversations. So please listen to those episodes. Please subscribe to the podcast, follow me on Instagram, and leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcast or wherever you listen to this podcast. If you don't want to leave a 5-star review, please leave a 4-star review and send me a direct message DM on Instagram or Twitter to tell me how I can make this show better for you. That's all for now. I appreciate you and the time you spent with me today. Have a great day out there. I'll see you in the next episode. Peace and love.
今日は楽しい時間をありがとうございました。ぜひ私たちのウェブサイト realsocialenglish.com を訪問して日本語訳と役立つ情報を手に入れてください。また次回お会いしましょう。バイバイ。See you next time. Bye bye.